And half of young Americans polled say they hate almost everything the president has done since he was reelected, and they would like to yank him out of office. Where did the love go? It is today's Money Talker, so stick around. Do you ever have too much money? The young and the restless. Looks like the young are turning on President Obama in a big way. New Harvard poll shows our country's youth are unhappy with his job performance, and that 52% of those between 18 and 24 years old say they would vote to recall him. It is today's Money Talker with Julie Roginski, Charlie Kirk, and Mercedes Colwin. So this was the IOP group at Harvard. I mean, they're the young presidents, and they're a left-leaning group. I mean, they would hate to hear me say that, but that is the way it is. And here the results are very anti-Obama. What do you think, Julie?
I think young people especially, are completely fed up. Like, they don't believe anybody anymore. And I don't blame them. I mean, first of all, they
don't believe anybody.
They don't believe anybody. They don't like Obama. They don't like Republicans. They don't like their parents. Everybody's betrayed. I mean, they're like, they're ticked off. I kind of don't blame them. I mean, everybody's discouraged. Everybody's bummed. I don't want to be a grim reaper, but who's happy?
Yeah.
It kind of stinks.
We dragged in our own young person here, Charlie.
Sorry, young person.
You can represent the young people.
Yeah,
what do you think?
I agree 100%. I mean, young people right now are just so fed up with politics as normal. They're tired of the rhetoric, and they're experiencing the reality of the bad politicians, what's going on in Washington right now. I mean, for so long, young people have voted, and there's been a distance between their vote, but they're experiencing the pain right now of their own vote.
How?
I mean, think about it. Higher premiums, youth unemployment, crippling student loan debt. I mean, one thing after the other. They are experiencing the harsh reality of big government failed liberal policies, and unfortunately, it's hitting them in their pocketbook. Like you say, it comes down to the money, and for young people right now, it truly does.
Mercedes, I mean, like, the problem is that a lot of these problems are intractable. I mean, the healthcare problem is a new one in terms of how it's hitting them, because before they were more protected, and now all of a sudden they're being kicked off their policies at school. I mean, maybe they can go join their parents' policy, but a lot of the other problems, the student debt, there was this promise that the president could solve these, and actually they're just not problems that could be solved immediately no matter what.
There was so much, I would say, euphemism in terms of what they wanted. They were thinking to themselves, this is going to be our savior. Remember, a new day, and we're going to solve all your problems. I mean, that's the platform that Obama used. And then when you have all these failed promises, the cynicism steps in. I think you said it right, Charlie. I mean, these kids look at this and say, wait a minute, we voted you in. How come we can't get a job when we graduate school? How come we have to pay back our loans, but we have no money? How come now we're going to lose our health care? All of those things add up to you failed to keep your promise. And that's a big issue for those young
The
young
stat
voters.
that has been the headline that has been reverberating around the web today is this idea of recalling the president, 52%. I mean, that's, you're laughing about that. I mean, is that just how kids think, or is that?
You know, I remember, sort of, as you pointed out, I am not a young person, as you pointed out.
But I didn't say you are a young person.
Well, Charlie was he's representing us as the young person, but when I graduated, and I think you did as well, in the mid-90s.
Much later.
Yeah, like 2000, like last year. But hypothetically, for those of us who are 12 years old when we graduated in the mid-90s from college, you know, the economy wasn't great either. I remember I graduated in 95, and the economy wasn't that great. And I had grown up in the Reagan-Bush years, where when Bill Clinton got elected, it was the first Democratic president sort of in my adult life, and I was so ecstatic, not because I was a Democrat, but because it was kind of a new change. I think a lot of young people felt the same way about Obama. They bought into this romanticism about him. You can't romanticize any politician. I remember thinking when he got elected, he was such an avatar for people's hopes and dreams. They were unrealistic about him, and the reality collided with the promise.
And almost manifested itself. Everybody's own problems were manifested in him as the solution.
Correct.
And I mean, he might have said something, but somebody thought so much grander of that. Oh, he'll solve all my problems and make my life better. And I think now that he's obviously had a tough couple months, and starting with maybe the NSA scandal, especially with young people, people are saying he's listening to my cell phones, he's raising my premiums, the student loan debt. Maybe I don't like this guy. You know, that kind of thought process is starting to really...
What do politicians do about that going forward? Because that's how you get elected, is you promise to solve everyone's problems. You know you're lying. Adults, older people know you're lying because they've been through it before, because they've fallen for it. So as a politician, like, how do you change that? Isn't that how they get elected, Mercedes?
It's never going to change. It's a formula that's been here for centuries since we came to this country. That's the formula.
That answer.
But it's so true that they won't change, because there's still going to be that underlying belief. Maybe this will be the person that's going to solve our problems.
Wait, if kids are sick of President Obama, does that mean do they believe in Republicans? Are they looking for real solutions? I mean, what's the solution?
You use the word recall. Unfortunately, recalling a president is not as easy as recalling an Xbox. You know, it's tough. We're stuck for another 3 years with him. But what can they possibly do? The Republicans have to make the sale. And I don't know if they are. We'll see in the next year coming up to the midterm election, can they make the sale effectively to millennial voters that we are going to be...
money issues, like what?
Let's talk about money. Let's talk about student loans. Let's talk about employment. Let's talk about things that relate to them. Stop talking about the national debt in really figurative terms. That doesn't affect me every day. Talk about how Obamacare is going to affect me in my everyday life. Talk about what you're going to do for me in the employment market. Those are the things that matter. The Republicans have to make that sale.
And the cynicism's really going, the cynicism is, the romance is over with the media. I mean, that's really what it is. There's so much focus on the failures of the Obama administration now in the mainstream media. Then the kids, these millennials are constantly reading and seeing it.
Gotta go. Thanks, you guys. I'm depressed.
I know, Grim Reapers.
Thank you. All right.